For centuries, adventurers and scholars alike have sought the elusive land, a place shrouded in mystery and steeped in myth. Some dismissed it as a fantasy, a figment of ancient imagination. Yet, driven by tales of untold wonders and the promise of discovering the edge of the known world, I knew different. Gathering my most trusted friends and beseeching every investor I could find, I gathered what I needed to embark on a journey across the treacherous seas. Thus, I began my search for the lost Holy Land, the Atlantis of the North, Thule Island. As in most videos, when talking about Thule, we must start in ancient Greece. Thule is first mentioned by ancient Greek geographer and historian Pytheas of Massalia, now known as France, around the 4th century BCE. It was described as an island located far to the north, often associated with the edge of the known world. Pytheas embarked on a journey around 330 BCE, likely sponsored by merchants. His voyage took him northwards through the North Sea and possibly all the way up into the Arctic Circle. His job was to look at the geography and trade routes in the area for the growing tin trade. What he saw and learned was far more than that, at least according to Pytheas himself. Pytheas described hearing about and finding Thule, an island located 6 days' sail north of Britain. He claimed it was so far north that there were periods of time when the sun never fully set. He also mentioned that the sea around Thule was thickened with ice and unnavigable. Later, Strabo, a well-known Greek geographer in his own right and student of the Library of Alexandria, wrote of Thule in his work Geographica, around 30 AD, where he writes, "The people of Thule live on millet and other herbs, and on fruits and roots, and where there are grain and honey, the people get their beverage also from them. As for the grain, since they have no pure sunshine, they pound it out in large storehouses, after first gathering in the ears thither, for the threshing floors become useless because of this lack of sunshine and because of the rains." The Roman historian Tacitus, in his book chronicling the life of Argolica, describes what the Romans knew of Britain, that it was an island and not a continent. And Tacitus wrote of a Roman ship visiting the Orkney Islands and claims that the ship's crew even sighted Thule itself. Despite this, he claims their orders were not to explore Thule as winter was at hand. In 77 AD, we have the writings of Pliny the Elder, a Roman naval commander and philosopher. He published his Natural History, in which he also cites Pytheas' claims that Thule is a 6-day sail north of Britain. Further though, when discussing the island around Britain, he writes, "The farthest of all, which are known and spoke of, is Thule, upon which there be no nights at all, as we have known them about midsummer, when the sun passes through the sign of Cancer, and vice versa there are no days in midwinter. Each of these times they suppose lasts 6 months in duration, all day or all night." Orosius, circa 380 AD, describes Thule as being northwest of both Ireland and Britain, and Solinus, around 400 AD, in his Polyhistor, repeated these descriptions, noting that the people of Thule had great land for producing crops. The legendary Norse explorer Leif Erikson is even said to have set sail from Greenland in search of this mythical land. And many more writings mention Thule and its lands on through medieval times and beyond. Together, these writings paint an image of what Thule and its people were like: peace-loving, but strong, proud, and capable. They were advanced for their time, having means and technology beyond the Greeks, the Britons, the Danes, and others. Muscled and powerful, with blonde hair, they were said to have blue skin, or blue markings upon their skin that glowed with power. Even the women were tall and strong, able warriors in their own right. Their society was built upon a democracy of the wise and the strong, protecting the weak and the vulnerable and ensuring the survival of their kin in the harsh, cold environments they found themselves. They held power over the ice, bending and shaping it to their will, whether through magic or technology. Further, their homes were built with their magic in mind, their city, large and protected, laid out as a ritual itself, purposeful and intentional in make. Thule and his people were ahead of their time, and beyond their peers in almost every way. They were set as a standard to emulate and look up to, a beacon in the icy darkness of the Arctic lands. We have been searching the Arctic Circle for 12 long weeks now. Each time I see a land appear, the sudden rush of excitement fills my body. I check the maps, and I find it to be a known island or landmass, and the disappointment hits me like a sledgehammer. I fear I won't find it, that we will have to turn back and admit defeat. We have supplies to last us another month. If we don't find it by then, perhaps I simply was not fated. Established shortly after World War I, and first called the Study Group for Germanic Antiquity, it was later renamed after the mythical land of early legend. The Thule Society was originally headed by Walter Neuhaus, World War I veteran who later changed his career choice to become an art student in Berlin. It was during this time that he became a keeper of pedigrees for the Order of Teutons. In 1917, Neuhaus moved to Munich. Presumably, the man wanted the Thule Society to be a cover for the Order of Teutons. Alas, in 1918, Neuhaus was to meet a man named Rudolf von Sebettendorf. Rudolf was a known occultist and had just become a leader of the Bavarian offshoot of a group known as the German Order Wohlvater of the Holy Grail. The two became friends, thus merging the two groups shortly after. A primary focus of the Thule Society slowly shifted towards the ideas concerning the origins of the Aryan race. In the earliest formations of the group, people wishing to join had to sign a blood declaration of faith concerning their lineage. The Thule Society identified Ultima Thule as a lost ancient landmass in the extreme north near Greenland or Iceland, claimed later by Nazi mystics to be the capital of ancient Hyperborea, as the origin home of this supposed race of Aryans. Early in 1920, Karl Herrer was forced out of the group as Hitler moved to sever his own party's link with the Thule Society, which subsequently fell into decline and was disbanded a few years later, much before the dictator himself came to power. Rudolf Sebettendorf had been removed from the Thule Society a year prior to this in 1919, but he returned to Germany in 1933 in the hope of reviving it. In that year, he published a book entitled Bevor Hitler kam, Before Hitler Came, in which he claimed that the Thule Society had paved the way for the Führer. This book and its writings were not favorably received by the German party authorities. Groups such as the Thule Society were forcibly closed down by anti-Masonic and occultist legislation in 1935. Sebettendorf's book was banned and he was imprisoned. Afterwards, he was sent to exile in Turkey. Nonetheless, it has been argued that some Thule members and their ideas were incorporated into World War II Germany. Some of the Thule Society's teachings were expressed in the books of party members and their leaders. Many occult ideas found favor with Heinrich Himmler, who had great interest in mysticism. The SS under Himmler kept many of these ideas. Sticking with the Thule Society for now, the group has become the center of many conspiracy theories concerning World War II Germany because of its occult background. These theories start with an Illuminati-like group created to protect and hide Thule from the common populace. Other conspiracies beyond include the creation of magically powered Nazi UFOs, mana cannons, time machines, Those of you familiar with the conspiracy of a Hitler's Argentinian escape might also know the ideas that state German party members, including the German dictator, fled to the land of Thule instead, including many other outlandish ideas therein. Some statements and theories claim that Thule is the northern version of Atlantis, another Greek super society on an island lost to time, or that it is the lost society of Lemuria, yet again another Greek myth. Further ideas connect Thule with the conspiracy theories regarding Hollow Earth theory, stating Thule is one of the surface bases to the advanced society that lives at the center of Earth. The early explorations were able to supposedly interact with the inhabitants of Thule, but later explorations have failed due to the breakdown of talks with the Hollow Earth people and the surface world. After months of perilous navigation and battling the unforgiving Arctic elements, we have found ourselves on the brink of a discovery that could rewrite history. We have spotted land on the horizon, and after consulting our maps and satellite data, the land did not match any known islands or lands. It is an unknown coast, an unknown area. Surely this is a sign. This must be it. I can see it through the porthole of my cabin as we are slowly grinding our way northward, getting closer with every passing hour. We should reach land by tomorrow. So, what of the many early Greek and Roman writings regarding Thule and its people? Surely there must be something out there, even if we don't find remnants of it now. Well, one must realize that almost all writings on Thule are references or retellings of the work of Pytheas. So the question is, how credible is Pytheas? Well, Polybius, in his work The Histories, circa 140 BC, describes Pytheas as one who has led many people into error by saying that he traversed the whole of Britain on foot, giving the island a circumference of 40,000 stadia, and telling us also about Thule, those regions in which there was no longer any proper land, nor sea, nor air, but a sort of mixture of all three, of the consistency of a jellyfish in which one can neither walk nor sail, holding everything together, so to speak. Strabo, one of the writers of Thule that we mentioned before, has also written that Pytheas has, and I quote, been found upon scrutiny to be an arch falsifier. But the men who have seen Britain and Ireland do not mention Thule, though they speak of other islands, small ones, about Britain. He also adds, now Pytheas of Massalia tells us that Thule, the most northerly of the Britannic islands, is farthest north, and that there the circle of the summer tropic is the same as the Arctic Circle. But from the other writers I learned nothing on the subject, neither that there exists a certain island by the name of Thule, nor whether the northern regions are inhabitable upon up to such a point. Strabo's own accounts of the people who inhabit Thule also all come from his readings of Pytheas's accounts. Pliny the Elder also even disagrees with Pytheas, though mostly on Thule's location, he places it along the most northerly parallel, saying, last of all is the Scythian parallel from the Rifelian hills into Thule, wherein, as we said, it is day and night continually by turns for 6 months. Pytheas's accounts of Thule have been debated by scholars throughout history. They questioned whether Pytheas actually reached Thule, whether he fabricated it wholesale or if he relied on reports from others. Some believe the idea that Pytheas might have conflated different northern locations or exaggerated his descriptions for literary and exploratory purposes. Though, what of Tacitus and his writings? Tacitus was most likely referring to the Shetland Islands. He stated that they saw Thule while about Orkney, the islands just northwest of the Orkney Islands that the ship's crew was exploring in his written works are the Shetland Islands of Scotland. All the later writings of Thule that we know of are built up from seemingly incorrect information from these previous authors thereafter. It seems leading to the grand tale we get now. Though, Let's assume that Pythias and the others were not completely wrong, that there was an island of people separated from Britain and its isles. What is the most likely location in our real world of Thule? The most common belief is that Thule is in fact Iceland, given its description being so far north, the fertile lands, and other geographical descriptions given by ancient writings. Its known distance from the British Isles suggests it would take about 6 days' travel with the navigation in ships of the ancient Greeks, thus further bolstering this idea. The Arctic ice sheets are also known to sometimes reach Iceland, which would be the frozen over ocean also described by Greek and Roman accounts of Thule. Though the Arctic sheets mostly reside around Greenland, not Iceland. Greenland is another location thought to be the famed Thule. It fits many of the same descriptions, far more ensconced into the Arctic Circle and the ice sheets therein. Vikings were known to have inhabited the area as well, albeit at a much later date, but who's to say a people didn't get there before them and was forgotten about? Greenland is even home to Thule Air Force Base, named so after the missionary and trading post of the same name in that location, established in 1910 by the explorer Knud Rasmussen. Thule Air Base was later renamed to Pituffik Space Base, with the establishment of the US Space Force. Lastly, there are ideas that Thule was, in actuality, Scandinavia. Simple and straightforward sort of idea. In 2010, scientists from the Institute of Geodesy and Geoinformation Science said that they have found common errors in calculations that had occurred in attempts by modern geographers to superimpose geographic coordinate systems upon Potomac maps. After finding this and subsequently correcting for these errors, the scientists claimed Thule could be mapped to the Norwegian island of Smola. So, those would be the best guesses that we have with the information on the actual island of Thule. Either way, it's possibly not as exciting as the mythical land that the Greeks had first written it to be. Amidst the icy desolation, as if emerging from the pages of ancient texts, it revealed itself. The edge of the world, the final frontier of the Arctic Circle, a land of breathtaking beauty and eerie silence. Here I beheld the boundary between myth and reality blurring, and I stood in awe at the realization of what we had accomplished. As we reached the top of the cliff face, and the ruins before me peeked out from the mountains, they were unmistakable. I had finally done it. I had reached the fabled Thule. In ancient Greek literature, Thule represented the farthest north, beyond the known boundaries of the Mediterranean world. It symbolized a distant and mysterious land, often associated with the edge of the known and the limits of human exploration. A great, incomprehensible north, a contrast to Atlantis and its representation of the known Mediterranean. The concept of Thule persisted into Roman and medieval European literature. It continued to symbolize a remote and inaccessible land, something depicted as a place of extreme cold and darkness. In the 19th and early 20th centuries, Thule gained a new symbolic meaning. For some national movements, particularly in Germany, Thule became linked to myths of Aryan origins and ancient Germanic heritage. In modern days, Thule has inspired numerous literary works, poems, and novels, often as a symbol of a utopian or lost paradise. It appears in works ranging from classical literature to modern fantasy and science fiction, where it represents themes of exploration, isolation, and the unknown. In contemporary cultural context, Thule continues to be referenced in conspiracy theories and fringe beliefs, often associated with hidden knowledge, ancient civilizations, or secret societies. These interpretations reflect Thule as an enduring symbol, the allure of mystery, mysticism, of hidden knowledge and exploration. So, what do you think of the mythical land of Thule? Where do you think it is hidden, if it exists at all? Tell me down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, and of course, please subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, thank you, listeners.